Yes, karibuni. Yes, tuchape lugha. Today I want us we evaluate in a quick way what should Gachagua do amid the others. So we saw them. I don't think Gachagua has lost much. In any case, I think Gachagua has lost people who he did not deserve. So I don't think Gachagua even need to show some concepts of worry. Yeah, I don't think Gachagua needs to show some concepts of worry. And na mimi nikaulizwa tu, naweza sema tu aendelee na ile kazi amekuwa akifanya. If he was working for Kenyans and if he was truly working for Kenyans, he should not be worried of the slots who are leaving him and going to support Ruto. But if he was working for himself, there is a need for worry. But if he really wants to help Kenyans liberate themselves, then hakuna kitu hata moja amepoteza. So Bwana Gachagua, don't allow Ruto to intimidate you, because Ruto thinks that if he intimidates Gachagua, he has won this election. And Ruto thinks that because Museveni as well has succeeded in manipulating the election and doing all the evil things which he has done in Uganda, so he thinks that now whatever he is doing is the most important thing which he needed to do. Yeah, so naambia bwana Ruto mambo bado. There is still the bigger portion which you are competing with, and he has to defeat the Kenyan people. Yeah, so lazima Ruto ajue kuna group ya watu he has to win against them, the Kenyan people. So karibuni, and that is what I want us to work on for the few hours or the few minutes which I will be here. So na musibabaishwe na Ruto. We can do this. So this is something which we can do. So I don't think yes, at times watu wanafikiria ni kama Ruto anaonesha nguvu mingi sana, and at times people feel like there is some sense of hopelessness, lakini haya situjarishe. Ruto will have to pretend to be very stable and to be steering the ship in the right way, but at the end of the day itabidi arushwe kwa maji ili hiyo merikapi iweze kuendelea. So don't be worried about that. They will pretend, they will try to look as if they have strength, power and capability, and they don't. So we are here to win. We are here to win. Alafu na nimeona pia news ati inatoa ati upinzani, we are having a problem of naming a presidential candidate, and now they are trying to, the media is trying to propagate that as something which is really problematic to us. We are not, there is nothing problematic there. Tutapanga hii maneno na itakuwa vizuri. So our people will agree. So there's no two ways about that. So our people will agree. Our people will agree. So don't worry about that. So it's okay. So let's not over-focus on the media too much. Media trying to show there is a lot of unplanning. We have also to understand some of the people in media ni watu wa Kasongo. So hilo sio jambo la kutushtua. I think right now we have absorbed we have now the necessary shock absorbers. We can now repair Ruto and the strategies. So saa zingine ukisikia kwa media wakisema sijui kuna mgogoro kwa upinzani, ujue huyo ni Ruto anaongea. Hakuna mgogoro. I don't think. We are still steering our ship, and we are focusing on getting Ruto out of power.
Can you be a travel advisor without quitting your 9 to 5?
Yeah,
Actually, yes. We're for the Modern Travel Agency.
Karibu tena mtazamaji katika taarifa zetu za KTN leo wikendi Jumapili hii. Naam, ni lini hasa upinzani wa pamoja unapaswa kuketi kujadiliana na hatimaye kumtangaza mgombea wao wa urais atakayekabiliana na Rais William Ruto katika uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka 2027? Hili ndilo swali linalotikisa muungano huo wa kisiasa, huku vinara wake wakikanganyikiwa kuhusu iwapo mgombea huyo atangazwe mwaka huu au mapema mwaka ujao, muda ambao utakuwa chini ya miezi 6 tu kabla ya uchaguzi mkuu kuandaliwa. Mgawanyiko huu pia unaibuka licha pressure kubwa inayowakabili vinara wa upinzani kuhusu ni nani hasa kati yao atapeperusha bendera ya urais. Mwandishi wetu wa masuala ya kisiasa Chris Thairu anaangazia mvutano huu, akichambua faida na hasara za kumtangaza mgombea mapema au kuchelewa.
Zikiwa zimesalia siku 569 kabla ya uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka 2027 ambapo Wakenya watarudi kwenye debe kuwachagua viongozi wao kwa muhula mwingine wa miaka 5, muungano wa upinzani unakabiliwa na changamoto mbili kuu wanapojipanga kumenyana na mpinzani wao mkuu, Rais William Ruto. Changamoto ya kwanza ni nani atakayebeba bendera ya urais, huku ya pili ikiwa ni wakati gani mwafaka wa kutangaza mgombea huyo.
Haijui kitu tulianzisha na mzee Kibaki.
Dalili kadhaa ikiwemo kura za maoni zinaashiria kuwa kiongozi wa chama cha Wiper Kalonzo Musyoka huenda akawa chaguo linalopewa uzito. Hata hivyo, swali kuu likiwa ni lini viongozi hawa wanapaswa kutangaza rasmi mgombea wao wa rais.
We begin discussing about naming a presidential candidate in January next year. So we have a whole year. Let Kenyans relax. And in any case, because it's not us, it's not the principals, it's not us as leaders who are going to name, it's the people who will help us. So what will happen the whole year? Kenyans will continue discussing so that by the time we name, it is a consensus. All people have agreed this is the kind of president we want.
Hata hivyo, wapo vinara wengine wa upinzani akiwemo kiongozi wa Wiper Kalonzo Musyoka wanaoshikilia msimamo kwamba mgombea wa rais anafaa kutangazwa mwaka huu ili kuwapa muda wa kujipanga na kumtambulisha kwa wapiga kura.
Within the first quarter, we should get the country a flag bearer so the Kenyans can then begin to focus appropriately.
Mvutano huu unaleta hali ya sintofahamu ikitikisa muungano wa upinzani, huku uamuzi mgumu wa nani atakayepeperusha bendera ya urais ukiwa bado haujafikiwa.
The president is inviting us to name a presidential candidate because he is a master of narratives, to begin hitting on that candidate every day, so that he can. You see what happened the other day. He was on Rigathi Gachagua. Then suddenly NIS tells him, if elections are held today, Kalonzo is leading by far. Then he begins bashing Kalonzo Musyoka. Why do we want to put ourselves in that situation?
In my opinion, the preferred time is now. You see, leadership is not a communal, it's individual. So what are you protecting by postponing the announcement of your candidate? You're not protecting anything.
It is worse than useless to even talk about the strategic time to unveil the flag bearer, because they are not even the bearers of a united strategy and dream for the country. If at all they're struggling to arrive merely at the time at when they should unveil the presidential candidate, how will they arrive at a plan to lead this country if they are chanced with the opportunity?
Kwa mujibu wa changanuzi wa siasa, kucheleweshwa kwa kutajwa kwa mgombea wa urais kunaweza kudhoofisha mikakati ya kampeni.
Sadly for the united opposition, they are facing off a masterful tactician politically. And the more they remain confused, the more they await the guillotine.
It also allows the people to sell that candidate. It also allows the donors to know who to give the money. So I think there is every advantage in naming the united opposition candidate now as opposed to later.
We are not in a hurry. We are not going to get into that trap set by NIS and the president to be in a hurry to name our presidential candidate. Then they begin hitting them. By December, is no longer there.
Itakumbukwa kwa muungano wa NAK uliomuingiza marehemu Rais Mwai Kibaki madarakani ulimtangaza Kibaki kwa mgombea wa rais miezi mitatu kabla ya uchaguzi wa Disemba mwaka 2002. Lakini swali liko hapa, iwapo muungano wa upinzani hauwezi kukubaliana kuhusu muda mwafaka wa kumtangaza mgombea wao rais, itachukua muda gani wao kukubaliana kuhusu nani haswa atapewa jukumu hilo zito? Chris Dairu, KTN, Nairobi.
Naam, tusonge mbele mtazamaji. Ugumu
mutatuambia wale ambao wameshinda kikombe siku ya leo. I don't know football. Haya, so mimi I want us we analyze that, which is the best moment for announcing the presidential candidate. I think we have now to start optimizing. Optimizing is trying to look which is the best moment to do anything. Lazima tuweke parameters. Mathematically, this is how you do. You can always determine the best time to do anything. And what the united opposition is supposed to do, they need to do an equation. It is mathematical, by the way, you can arrive. And I don't want the united opposition to be saying that even Kibaki was named 2 months to the election. Wow, hallelujah. Thank you, Bwana Peter Kiora. Kama Senegal imeshinda. Yeah, that one is really very powerful. So, wameshinda back to back. Na wameshinda wakiwa kwa wenyewe. Yeah, I really honor that. So, and by the way, Bwana Stony PK, nimekuwa nikijaribu kufanya hiyo hesabu because it is mathematical. You can work out it. It is something which you can have parameters. If they want to know the best moment to know a presidential candidate, it is parametric. You can unaweza weka parameters kwa hiyo kitu. And tomorrow I will come and discuss my parameters. Karibu sana Madam Moringe. Tomorrow I will come and discuss my parameters, which they need to look at. Yeah. Parameters. So, number one, you need to look at the nature of, I'm looking parameters, maybe to expand and we will do that equation here because it's a spontaneous equation actually. You can get that optimum time. So, mimi niko na parameter ine, but you know parameters are depend with individual to individual. So you can solve that X. You can solve. Americans use 15. The X for American is 15 months. And they have decided to be doing that. So in America, by latest 15 months, they must have gotten a candidate. The Republican Party has to, they have to start, they have to start their campaign. Within 15 months, you have to launch your campaign. But their primaries, they have to be indicative by February. By February na uchaguzi kwa November. So at least they need a minimum of 7 months. So X in America is 7. By 7 months, there must be an indication who is the candidate. X is usually. So in America, at least by 7 months, the political parties must have agreed. And when Democrats decided to contaminate that equation, Kamala Harris had no time even to campaign. You know, hata kama tunasemanga Kamala Harris alishindwa. Part of the reasons why Kamala Harris couldn't be able to assemble a good campaign was because Kamala Harris was an accidental campaign. We had Joe Biden almost up to February, where the candidate has to be known. So we knew very well, and the idea is that Joe Biden is crashing and crashing and crashing. Now they had now to stabilize their campaign by bringing another individual, but it could not work. So actually you can bring a candidate late and it doesn't work. So I'm telling you that because for America, they have worked at their X 7 months. I have worked for Kenya, the Kenyan one. And one thing which I can tell you right now, because of other parameters, resources, na vitu zingine, for Kenya we have to work at a time which is lesser than American one. And I'm not using America as a case study. So, and that's something which I want to argue it here with the Stone PK. For me, I believe the best time for the opposition to name their united candidate as one, it has to be a time between 0 and 7 months. 0 and 7 months. But they need to show a uniform working strategy of campaign. Lazima wakue na campaign moja. So the problem which we are having is even as you wait to announce the candidate, the train has to be one. That is the problem which we are having. You see, like we have an advantage in America because in America, Republicans know once they decide, they have decided. You have to assemble to the next guy, to the guy who has been nominated. Once Democrats decide, they have decided. So alignments in America are easy because akunanga party hogging. There's no jumping. Uko hapa, uko pale, uko. So Americans are a bit stable in terms of who they want, who you want. But that is not the case for Kenya. And nilikuwa nataka kuambia hizo. So I've worked out that number. I will come and show you. It is a simultaneous equation. Tutaisolve na nyinyi hapa. I'm just doing as because pia nataka pia kuelimisha kidogo. You can put parameters. You can have your x's. You can put your x's and you can actually unaweza weka vitu zinaitwa constraints. Sasa je, ni kuongelesha kidogo. Unaweka constraints, una plot hizo vitu kwa graph. Ni ile hesabu ya constraints, ile ya x greater or equal to this one greater or equal to this. Unajuanga ile unachora pale, you shade hadi unabaki na hiyo time. Una optimize hiyo time kabisa. So No, for Kaongo is already there. So Kaongo wako kwa race. So I'm just saying kwa equation, the best time for united opposition to name a candidate, it is 5 to 7 months, not 3 months. And I have actually tried to understand the reason why you can only use 3 months if the coalition is very popular. So you need a shorter time. So you can do like Kibaki because you can see traffic. Everybody want to be in that. But united opposition has not produced that necessity whereby kila mtu anasema nataka kukua hapa because there are some things, and it is normal, there are some things the united opposition has not tweaked. They have not tweaked so that now people can start embracing that union. So because there are some weaknesses, because we do not have very dynamic characters there. So because we are having regular candidates, we are not getting people from the moon. We are just having the same old guys who have been, but at least they are at that vantage point where Kenyans are still reasoning with them. But hakuna mtu akona musisimuko hapa, watu wanasema yes, this is the guy. Nile tu like, but they are good guys enough to replace Ruto, and who can do a better job than Ruto. But they are not dynamic people. You know, ndio saa zingine nikiwaambia kitu mtaanzia kusema napenda watu wa upinzani, sisemi kwa vibaya, but nawaambia ukweli. We do not have that character who can tune Kenya into a revolution mode. That is what we are lacking, because people have been frustrated, and that is why campaign yetu huu mwaka we will have to work more. Unajua sema niwaambie ukweli. This is my own analysis. You can tell me I take a lot of deep thinking in these things. So that is a challenge we are having. Yani, we do not have, like, it is not like in America, like the Obama mom. Unajua, there is a time when you have a guy, we call it campaign inajibeba. There is a campaign which carries itself. You don't need to work. Hey, what was the So we still lack that because that is what we lack. Yeah, we still lack that. So we lack that that dynamics. That if we had those characters who they are bringing a momentum and revolution in Kenya, now we can say that let's do it in 3 months. You know, like that's why I'm saying our akina Gachagua, even as akina Gachagua wanasema hivyo, when akina Gachagua wanasema we need a year to name a candidate, it is too late. It is too late for that. So, and again, for those people who are saying that we do the Kibaki thing, you can only do the Kibaki thing if you are having a dynamic candidate who can actually turn that election very fast. Who can turn that election very fast. That's why you unaweza sema tutatangaza September, tupige uchaguzi December. Hiyo inakuanga when now the nation is totally tired with that guy. And anyone can just say like, so Muringa, no, Muringa Gachagua is still not dynamic. Nikki, when I'm talking about dynamic, it has to be you as a candidate. And Gachagua is not that candidate who can now make people now feel. There is, and Ms. Moringa, I want to tell you, there is a difference between, there are two things. Karibu sana Stone PK. There are two things in politics. There is a difference between you as a candidate and you as a helper. There is a difference. So, being a candidate, if you have no capacity to cause momentum as a candidate, but you have capacity to cause momentum as Fido 2. But that is something, people who cause momentum on layer 2, you need to analyze them. And I'm saying this one with a lot of humility, by the way. Let me tell you, people who cause momentum, they are people who themselves can be presidents. People, that is what happened like in Senegal. Siku hizi tumesema lazima tu analyze hizi vitu kwa uwazi. Like in Senegal, Sonko himself could have become a president. So for you to make somebody a president, na hii ni kitu watu hawaelewani. For you to make somebody a president, hata wewe, you need to have capacity to be a president. So, but you cannot tell people, I can make this guy a president, but your odds are not there. So, and this is how I want us now to start analyzing Gachagua. Because, so is a question I'm asking. Can Gachagua become a president on himself? Like, can he campaign and become a president? If he cannot campaign and become a president, you do not have a guarantee that he can campaign for you and you become a president. Najua hiyo ni ngumu leo na watu watanzia. Na sio Gachagua napiga. Gachagua ni rafiki yangu na nampenda. But those are things you can, a president makes another president. The reason why Raila Odinga is supporting Kibaki and Kibaki is becoming a president, it is because he is equivalently a man who can become a president at that moment. He is dynamic in that nature. So that's why you can do that transfer. But a presidential material is the only one who can transfer presidential characters. Unajua ni kama DNA. You cannot transfer what you can't be. So you can only make somebody a president if you can become a president. Yeah, I think that's why the reason nimekuja kuelewa saa zingine, the reason why watu wananiambia wanielewi, because saa zingine watu wananiambia ni kama niko na lugha ngumu. Sio lugha ngumu, ni kama bishop. You can only make somebody a bishop if you are a bishop. You can only, let me use that simple example. Like for example, wale watu wanapelekananga kutahiri. Kama hujatahiri huwezi peleka mtu, hajatahiri hawezi peleka mtu kutahiri. It is usually a class of equals. That's what we now call transfer. So that's why. So, and this is how I want you to. So, Kalonzo Musyoka can only make Raila Odinga a president if he has capacity to be a president. That is what happens because you are transferring them. So, if between Guinea, but we can also share that responsibility. Tunaweza sema sisi watu watano, we can make each other president. We can collaborate. We can say 5 of us with different responsibilities, we can make this man a president. But there is no any human being who, at the moment, who has potential to make you a president. If himself, he cannot be a president as an individual. And it has been proven in some countries. Na ndio unakutanga hata kwa nchi zingine, there are some people who are very powerful, they even make presidents to become puppet. Because yeye mwenyewe ako na capacity ya kukua rais, lakini ana delegate hiyo power kwa mtu mwingine. So that is what happens. So even as Gachagua is telling us that, or he tells people that yeye hanaweza fanya mtu rais. That one is only true if he can campaign and become a president. But this statement is true. But Gachagua, Matiang'i, Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, and Natembeya, in a shared responsibility, they can produce a president. That is a clarity I wanted us to start understanding. But because we do not have those dynamic characters in Kenya who can influence results, who can cause musisimuko. In some extent, Gachagua had that musisimuko, but I don't seem to see it now. Maybe it can return in the future, but huo musisimuko siuoni. So right now, maybe Bwana Stone Pike unaweza ingililia hapo. I don't know. Do you think right now in Kenya we have one individual who can turn that election in 2027? And like we can say like without this guy you cannot become a president. Are we there?
Thank you, Njiro. I'll not approach it from that angle because I'll run away from that and ask you and the people who are watching. I hope you're listening. Who makes who president? Who makes anybody president? Question number one. Question number two is you're going to be president for who? Number three, who is the opposition right now in Kenya? Is it the individuals we see or the people? Who is the opposition? Ni nani wana oppose Ruto sahi? Ni Kalonzo na kina Matiang'i na kina Gachagua? The moment we debunk that, then we can now discuss. Because you have fallen into this trap here, Kenyan media na NIC in Kenya. You have fallen into the trap of thugs, crooks, who have now gone, they are making it look like these things are decided on a table, on a bedroom, or in a bedroom or in a boardroom. That is where now the presidency is decided. Yes, to so much extent that has been the place. But the Mwananchi has said never again. And we want now to follow that narrative ya Mwananchi. We should not buy at unajua election itakuwa rigged na tunakubali. No. Tusemeaje? We've been rigging elections against the popular majority. How do we stop that? In fact, for me right now, hata when I'm discussing or sending SMSs to kwa hawa majamaa, ni kuambiaje kura itaibiwa kama vile imefanywa in Uganda. And we will play some of those clips na UG uone impunity ikishaingia what happens. Okay? Because sahi Kenya hatutaki tukubali hiyo impunity na tukae tuseme ai sasa hii hata tukienda kupiga kura Ruto ataiba tu. Tukikubali hiyo, we are done, we are finished. It will not matter what Mwananchi thinks, and then we will now be on what you are discussing about. Mtu anakuja ana boast that Njiru, if you don't talk to me Stone PK, mimi naweza ku make you as a president or dismantle you and you never see it. We want to get away from that, because what has that been the narrative imekuwa ni kwamba because I come from Mulima and Mulima has this number of votes, so all that Mulima has belongs to Stone PK, and Stone PK akisema tuende hivi, that is where Mulima will go. We want to dismantle that, especially through the youth, through the Gen Zs, and through those not necessarily young, even the old that think that status quo should be changed. Now that answers your question as to ati mtu mmoja ndiye atakuja to make the other the presidency. I want us to demystify that, and I want us to support the youth about that, and I want us to promote and fight and advocate for the sober thinking people to make the movement of saying presidency has to be made by the people, for the people. And then we ask ourselves, what do the majority feel? Because when we go to individuals, tunapiga nduru hapa usiku kutwa, so and so has been bought, so and so has been bought. I would like us to go, watu, how can you buy the masses? And I want people to know that when you saw those people in Sagana wakifanya vile walikuwa wanafanya, it was what? It was bribe of a few. When somebody from your village alitoka akasema ati ameenda kukurepresent akatoa hiyo 5,000, alikuletea hapo home? Hakukuletea. Now that takes me back to what I was saying in this channel, that akina Kalonzo na everybody else should now go home mashinani kuongea lugha ya mama na kuomba kura kwa wale ambao ndio wapiga kura, and you explain the optic that is being prepared. That is not the vote. Turudi chini. Let's go down. When Ruto was up there bribing the leaders, rudini chini mseme hawa viongozi hakuna kitu wanatuletea. And that is so nice. I saw it. Nani amefuata hii, and I think she has been, or they have been listening to our discussions. What happened in Kibera today was heartbreaking. It was unbelievable. It is what should happen. What you saw in Kibera, I don't know whether you watched, we should also be able to present here. That is the movement. That is what should happen. Don't come to be suppressed to Kiambua, kingpins and all that kind of nonsense. When we do like what Kibera has done today, when we now tell these people who are the forefront, wale ambao tunapeleka mbele, because we cannot all be president. There has to be one person. Now we have these people who are sharing our common idea of removing this government. We accept them, whether they are 6, 7, 8, 9. We, the voters, we want them to present themselves to us all as equals. Bila shida, so long as they answer to our question. What is our question? Our equation is that whatever we plus, the answer should be Ruto must go and we have a new replacement. We should accept that any of them can be able to do it. That is the biggest challenge we have. The biggest challenge is, do we accept that the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 guys, that any of them, without unequivocally, that any of them can make it? Bila mahesabu mingi, Njiro, I move away from your empirics and all that mathematics, okay? Because what I believe, there is no mathematics here. The thing is, do we believe we want to remove Ruto? Period. Hakuna hesabu tunahitaji hapa. Because if we say, out of the 8 guys, huyu jamandi atakuwa flag bearer, whether you calculate 8, 9x, weke whatever you put, it doesn't make any sense, because the thing is, who are opposing Ruto? The voters. So the voters should be asked, if we gave you Kalonzo, are you okay? If we gave you Ruto, whoever we gave you, is it okay? If we gave you a sheep, are you okay? Once they confirm they are okay, it doesn't matter whether you say it 10 days before, 100 days before, 3 years before. Anybody going, you can go mudslinging, you can go saying whatever you want to say to these candidates, but the people have the resolve. So that's why I don't want this science thing. If you announce Stone PK today, Ruto can fight. He can paint names. He can say, I've never built a road to my place. Kwangu ni hata hakunanga choo, hakuna nini. Lakini mwananchi ameresolve. But if mwananchi can be swayed by Ruto's insults to Njiru, then we are talking of nonsensical journey. It's useless. We should just let Ruto nini. Kama watu watasikiza Ruto akisema fulani ni mbaya Njiru, then we are doing rubbish. Tuachane na hii maneno. So for me, I say the front runner can be announced anytime. Hakuna formula, tuache maneno ya US na hii. Huko akina US walishiba, ni michezo wanafanya. For them is a game. Politics is a game in US, first world and all that. For us it's do or die. It's a life saving. It's either we do it right or we die. Tuache tu, never should we ever compare our situation with anybody else. Ours is a matter of life and death. Okay? So is it that mwananchi anataka kuokoka? Kama hataki kuokoka basi tuachane nayo. Tuache hiyo maneno ya sayansi. That's my opinion. Back to you.
Okay, Stone PK, okay, that one nimekupata. There is something here I want us to dive deeper a little bit. Because at the end of the day, these people are getting involved with now these people who are trying to pump science to them. I to some extent, I would agree with you that some things do not require science, they require basic look of issues. But one of the big propaganda which Kasongo is announcing out there, and you can see there's like the united opposition is, or all these people who are anti-Ruto, they seem to be divided on the formula, on when. So, and they don't know up to what level they will be able to reconcile that idea of when is when. So like, do we need to candidate this year? Do we need to candidate next year? Because still next year we have time, uchaguzi in August. You can even do it at January, February, March, anytime. But in terms of that, can we try to analyze like how does announcing of a common presidential bearer, how does it affect mobilization and financing? How does that, how do those two things align? Like depending with the time, whether 1 year, 2 years. And also you have also to look at the other candidate who you are also fighting. Is time affected by resources and mobilization?
Let me answer that quickly as you invite the second person. Jiru, today I declare I'm going to contest. You know me. You know what I can do. Does it matter whether I'll tell you a day before or 2 days before that you're gonna support me? You will come and support me because you believe in me. All right. Now, the second thing is, of course, that answer tells you that we should not. It is upon the opposition to appeal to whoever feels that they want to fund. Hao ndio wanatakiwa waambie. It doesn't matter whether it's 10 days or 2 days or 3 years or 5 years before. Okay? It is a matter of how you present your proposal. Number two, the people now, the voters, Njiro, and this is very important. The voters should tell all these people that we are not going to listen to you when you are telling us about the date we are supposed to announce you. The people should decide and say, you announce now. We want it now. And I'm suggesting to the candidates, let's do an opinion poll. A very proper scientific opinion poll. Let's have inquiries from all the counties. Let us do them. Multi opinion, multi interviews, multi evaluation. Ask questions, random. Ask Kenyans to say when would they want to have it. And you hear, even during rallies, you can do the acclamation. Waulize tutangaze sasa ama tungoje, by show of hands. And you will be able to feel it. You openly, you Kenyans are very good. Every rally they go, let them pose that question and we will get the answer. We should remove it from the 8-9 guys because they are selfish. Mtu anatoa idea zake na selfish because when they say, oh, it should be now, when you know it should be later, Give us a reason why. Gachagua says not now. Give us a reason. Kalonzo says now. Of course, the reason for me, I know the common answer for now, as early as possible, is for people to be able to mobilize and do, and then wananchi wazoee, wajue ni huju. Kama ni kiwete tuzoee, tukijua ni kiwete chetu kiko hapa. Mtu akisema hivi tunapigana hivi, mtu akisema hivi tunapigana hivi, and we move on. Right now we are not gambling. Unless unaniambia Njiru that now wananchi wamechange, wameanza kuweigh ati benefits. Ruto wako na benefits zake, akina Kalonzo wana benefits zake. But if I believe it is what we used to, ilikuwa kwamba wananchi all of them we are hoping 90% wako wamechoshwa na Kasongo, then I don't see any threats. I stop there.
Okay, ni sawa. As I loop in Mbudi, we know coalition making, this is not the first time. Even Raila Odinga used to be announced as a coalition partner and as a coalition flag bearer, holding the steering of election, which has always been done. Bwana Budi, do you think the timing of naming Raila Odinga, as you also tell us, which would be the best timing for us to know the guy who will menyana na Ruto, do you think Azimio was ready to announce Raila Odinga the time when they announced him as a common flag bearer? And are there lessons we can draw from Raila Odinga, because he is one of the guys who has been building this coalition? That's where we can draw some experience, and even drawing that experience as far as in 202, where they are claiming that it only took 3 months, and now they are even saying even in 2027, even 3 months can be enough. Some people are saying that blanket seat. Maybe can you take us through that? Which is the best time to have a candidate?
I think, first of all, let me say hi to all of the both of you. I hope you have started your week well. Yangu imeanza vizuri. No, we were celebrating hapa kuwa wa Somali should be dealt with. Nobody understands the difference from Somali na Mkenya. Now we are being dealt with perpendicularly. These people came to our houses yesterday, house to house. They are looking for foreigners. Njiru hata ukubali usipokubali, this guy of yours is a fucking racist. And what is happening to us here in Minneapolis, you can't believe that we are in a first world country. Anyway, wachana hiyo. That's the reason why we are here. Wacha tumenyane now because our country is a shithole. So we are here because we can't handle our own countries. If ingekuwa mzuri, hatungekuwa tuna go through this. But I think the people who are in this state right now are going through hell. As long as you have an accent, you have a problem, my friend. You are a suspect, you are a Somali, and you are an illegal. So sahi tunatembea mpaka na passports, because if you don't have something to show, utaingia ndani kwanza before utoke. You can imagine. They're going even to schools now. Yesterday was so bad that it was house to house. Imagine house to house. So that is it. So what I want to say in regard to your question is this, Mr. Njio. There is no right or wrong time to choose a flag bearer. You know, when you are saying that Raila was chosen a flag bearer last minute, you want to tell me that there was an alternative to Raila all along. Anybody who went to a coalition with Raila understood that Raila will become the flag bearer. The uniqueness of Raila is he built a national network, and he understood one way or the other that he shouldn't, or he should never be a candidate if people don't want, but he aligned himself to what the people desired at that particular moment of any election cycle. So it was never the announcing of the candidate that was important. And all along, whether you like it or not, from 2007 to till the day Raila died, and even after he joined Ruto, we still knew that Raila is going to become a presidential candidate as long as he was alive. So it was never a surprise for Raila to be chosen as a presidential candidate. So for us to start talking that his timing was right or timing was wrong, as long as you came and joined his side of the coalition, you are just an adept. The main person within that coalition was Raila Amolo Odinga. That one was a matter of conclusion. If you joined Ruto, that was a matter of conclusion too in last general election. What we in 2013, before Michuki said, after Michuki said, ukitaka kuongea na Wakikuyu, we understood that there was no way that the Kikuyus could have supported Ruto's presidency for Uhuru to become deputy. So for that coalition to be made, we understood who was going to be top, who was going to be down. Okay. So coalition making is not a surprise. Maybe this time around, maybe, but as far as I see, between Kalonzo and Matiang'i, if we were to look at numbers and strategy, there is no question Kalonzo is the presidential candidate. But if we are looking, if we had a level field whereby a preferred candidate who can transform Kenya, Matiang'i will become the presidential candidate. So as far as I'm concerned, the united opposition, the candidate, you know very well, hakuna kitu kingine. Tuanze kusema, we will name them, we will anoint them, we will oil them, we will do what? Kalonzo is the presidential candidate for the opposition if they are playing safe. So there is no question about that. Anything beyond Kalonzo is just a loophole for theatrics that obviously, you know, are working for the state. You know, whether it's a person we believe that can transform Kenya or not. Because as far as we can see, where we are headed, as of today, I don't know what will happen tomorrow, because many things, one day in politics is a long day. So as of today, as I speak, we shouldn't even have any doubt that who is the presidential candidate in the united opposition. If we were to go, that we want seriousness in what loosely we call united opposition. So the naming of the candidate, the timing, the what and what, for me, has never been a problem. I mean, it's just those theatrics to up our base and to show we are organized, ABCD, the structures that allow us to go through that process. Okay? But obviously, you knew that the flag bearer for Azimio is going to be this and one. Who we didn't know was the deputy. Okay? That is where now, you know, we are surprised that we didn't know that Gachagua could become the deputy. We didn't know Martha Karua will supersede Kalonzo. I think that was the new development we saw in last general election cycle. But for the candidates, Njiru bwana, hii maneno unataka kuleta hapa, hiyo don't work. It's like asking today who will be the presidential candidate for the Republicans. You know the answer, the way things are going. So in Kenya is the same thing. Now, if you want to know that that is now the direction we are leading to, and I think a new conversation has emerged that for a long time we have been asking, are we really going for an election or we are going for an anointing? I think if there is anything that has made me happy was the speech of Kalonzo. He said this, I have been with Raila for 15 years. And when we are told that we are going to have consultation with like-mindedness, what like-minded people are, what walitukana Raila, all these names, like-minded with you? Then he went further to say, Isaac, when we said that he must vacate these offices, tulikuwa na maandamano ya Tuesday and was it Wednesday or something of the sort, and we made sure that he went. And he went again to say further that, look, Marjan is not going to be there in 2027, whether he likes it or not. We are embarking on what we did with Baba to make sure now we have a credible body that is going to. So I think on terms of strategical level, Kalonzo started speaking like a presidential candidate, not hooping here and there. But at the same time, he is working on eggshells by also understanding the turmoil within ODM is artificially created by the UDA. And whenever you want to make a coalition in Kenya right now, and because of the complexity of it, you, as a presidential candidate, you become a little bit toned down so that you do not create a situation whereby in the future talks will be difficult. Okay, and you have seen Kalonzo as a potential presidential candidate speaking about Oburu and also speaking about why and they must work with ODM. And I think he's doing it intentionally because of the dilemma of the cracks within the ODM, which he understands had been created by Ruto. And you saw the emerging parties today in Nairobi showing a different, how can I call it? I cannot call it a coalition within ODM. I can say rebellion within the ODM, showing otherwise. So to your question, we know who the presidential candidate is going to be, unless we force Matiang'i to become one, which can be fair if we have an electoral body that we truly know is going to be free and fair. But as of now, if you have seen what has happened in Tanzania, what happened in Rwanda, what happened in Southern Sudan, and what is happening from the Western countries who are tone deaf towards all these kind of electoral felonies that are being done and candidates being abducted, jailed, so on and so forth, it tells you one thing, that Kenya obviously is not going to have an election in 2027. So I think for that conversation, Kalonzo, to start it so that we can start that agitation, it tells me that he's a serious presidential candidate because he's moving forward to tell us that, look, like Uganda, like Tanzania, like Sudan, like Ethiopia, like all these countries that surround us, that elections were never held, they were announced. We are not going to allow elections that are going to be announced. If they are going to be announced, then we rather do it early and tell you that if this man is there, then we are not going to spend billions and billions of money that we are funding an electoral process that obviously is what? Is phony. So I'm glad that Kalonzo is emerging as a presidential candidate. Is it the will of the people? Obviously, he might not transform Kenya the way we want. And we know that. That's a fact. But in coalition making, I think the complex issues comes then what lies with the incumbent and the existing government that obviously has started acting the way Tanzania and Uganda has now been acting for many, many years. If you look at Kibaki, regardless of his subtle dictatorship, there was give and take. If you look at Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, even at the height of, we know that 2013 and 17 had issues, serious issues, including 2022. You could understand that at least there was an electoral commission that, even though it was geared totally on the other side, there was a compromise, even in the Cherera form, at least to allow some people to pick within the coalition of the electoral commission, that there were talks that allowed in the picking. But now, in the 2027 general election, my friend, how do we even think of going to an election with a man who actually debunked the Cherera form, forced them to resign, made them go to exile, caused fear within the electoral commission, has chosen his own electoral commission, and we are pretty talking about election 2027. So I think Kalonzo has brought a new point that, look, we should stop talking about 2027 and start talking about the referees. And I think now Kalonzo is emerging as a potential individual who is serious about the election of 2027. Unlike Matiang'i, who I think is pretty sure, like also Gachagua, who say election has never been stolen. As a minister for internal security, he should know what transpired in 2022, and he should not even allow the talk of 2027 without fixing the 2022, because as the boss, security boss of that country, he should have the audacity to talk to Kenyans and say, there was no election and there will be no election. I should not even be a presidential candidate to you if I know that there is not going to be an election. That is what I will answer on that.
Okay. I want us to advance that because you have brought it quite at an early stage. You know, at least so that at least an election can be seen, we begin by first of all at least having an almost we know because Ruto is stealing the election. We were hoping to produce that landslide win whereby like opposition and the capacity to produce like 70%. But we know because of the challenges which we are having and we are going to the election, we cannot be able to produce those numbers, and because we are not assured of any security. But at least so that we can also be able to trigger a reaction to Kenyans, you begin by first of all having at least an equally divided number. Do you think at the starting point, Kalonzo has that capacity to at least give us a divided election, even if it is in a 50-50 range? Because that one would be a good point, especially in a government which you want to steal. Because if we have that, like that binary election, we can now start saying now we can reinforce here, we can apply. Do you think Kalonzo has capacity to give us a binary election? An election which is close, first of all. Not an election like the one which we have seen in Uganda of 70-21. Do you think with the Kalonzo, our numbers, even after being stolen, our numbers can reach to a level of 45? Because that one you can plan for it. You can plan to. Do you think with the Kalonzo we can raise our numbers to 45?
Let me tell you, and let's not be like the media, which kept saying that Raila was a perennial loser of election until he died. That is when we started saying that, you know, there was a possibility, ABCD. You know, Jiro, sometimes we are not under the ethics of journalism when we are here. The advantage we have under this forum is we can be honest enough to say things that journalists are not allowed. In an election that is fair, Ruto has no chance even to win some seats in Rift Valley. For us to start giving Ruto an headway that, you see, for an affair, does Kalonzo have, you do the arithmetic, just simple arithmetic, from the agitation presently of how Kenya is divided. Kisii imeenda, Ukambani haiko. Coastal region, they cannot do anything. They're having issues totally. Nairobi is a big problem. Rift Valley, it's quiet, but it will erupt. Kikuyu, they had to use in one constituency. They had to steal all the monies they could and make sure like Kindiki and the rest are in Mbeere, one constituency. Unlike what we saw in Kipipiri many years ago, and we thought Moi had set a record. If we quantify and qualify what happened in Mbeere, the resources, helicopters, money given daily, media coverage, if we quantify, it was like a general election. Okay? It was not even a gubernatorial election that was going on in there. People from there can tell you. So, if there was such panic to create a narrative that they are still in power, it tells you that in terms of numbers, in the mountain, imeenda. That's why Ruto confirmed the other day that mi naweza acha watu walinipigia kura niende kule kwingine.
He's saying that because, you know, he has lost it. You and me know it. There's no question about it. Kisi Hana, Luya land is giving him so much problems. Because the people like Wetangula in Bungoma, who at least they stole a little bit from there, Wetangula has become like Mudavadi, whereby his own backyard flipped badly. And the other day you saw, whether they want to lie or not, there's an emerging Luya leader, a young person that we don't expect, like 2 years ago, that he could supersede some of these Goliaths of politics, and who are so moneyed within the Western region, including people like Atuoli, are now afraid of people like Nathan Bear. So when you look at the political tribal mortgage, Western, you look at Nairobi, you look at Coastal, you look at even what Gachagua started, kila mtu aenda asome kwao. People like Ahmed Nasir have started having a honest conversation that, look, the truth is that we have received over $1 trillion since devolution started. We have no schools, we have no hospitals, we have no... Those are generating true numbers, and people are waking up like, look, for how long are we going to be duped? So on an election that is fair, where there is no theatrics ambayo tunataka kuleta hapa, tunaongeza mkate na supu ingine, tunaweka waru ingine, tunaongeza malenge. Ruto cannot win any election in Kenya. Let's agree on that. Once we agree on that, then I think we can have another conversation. But by putting Ruto, that does Kalonzo have what it takes, then you bring that conversation back, then we start doubting ourselves. It is not Kalonzo, it is the people of Kenya. Are the people of Kenya having confidence in Ruto? Voted for him. They never voted for him. They have never voted for him. They will never vote for him. So by bringing Kalonzo in to justify that Ruto has numbers, it's the wrong way of asking questions.
Okay, fair enough. I understand. So let me ask that question correctly. Do you think Kalonzo Musyoka can tune on our numbers even in an election which Ruto is attempting to steal? Do you think Kalonzo Musyoka can actually turn that election? Because we have to begin with an election which has positive numbers beyond which actually the government can be able to steal. Do you think, and you have explained that dichotomy and the people, and I hope like we even have like financial and other people who maybe follow elections in Africa. Do you think they are standing Kenya cautiously and saying even Uganda, Museveni has stolen, Kenyans could be able to produce that dynamic election, even if the government want to steal, these people can actually turn numbers to a victory?
Perpetually, Stone PK, allow me now in 3 minutes. Perpetually in Kenya, if you see the narrative, it has been so complicated that they are only able to do 50 plus 1, 200,000 votes kwenda mbele. Because the numbers have been so complicated to the existing government. Unlike Tanzania and Uganda, whereby it's 98-75, numbers are very difficult sometimes to steal. The reason why Moi had to bulge and just allow Kibaki to become the president, it's not because he was really a Democrat. Let's not even give flowers to this guy. It's because numbers could not accept. Western, Coastal, like it was overwhelming. And I think we are in that situation now, whereby, unlike 2002, whereby Raila's strategy was to allow Akikuyu to run versus Akikuyu, to divide the votes, to take Kanu out. Remember, that was the strategy. This time around, dividing the Kikuyus has become impossible. So for me, this is what I see. If you look at Western, kuna shida. If you look at Kisi, kuna shida. Within Luo Nyanza itself, today or yesterday, you saw in Kibra, whatever they've been lying about, Oburu lying, saying everything, there are people still believe that being with Ruto is the wrong thing. So these numbers we are being lied kwa atachukua Luo Nyanza, it is not true. So if Luo Nyanza has not gone, if Kisii has not gone, if coastal region has not gone, where is Ruto getting the numbers that you want to? Ruto cannot win the election. And that is why the conversation about the Electoral Commission is the greatest conversation that we can have right now. And if Kalonzo, and I have said, will have the courage kufanya chenye amesema kuwa tutakuwa na zile maandamano tulikuwa tunakuwa nazo, I think Kenyans will have that gist to say, you know what, you're not going to do this to us. So the only strategy Ruto has is to steal the election through the Electoral Commission, not the numbers that he can have legitimately. Sema at least akona 35%, ataiba 10%. Ruto does not even have 35%. From where? From where? You tell me. And this is something you have debunked. There's a day ulifanya hii hesabu hapa, and I think also Mato. At that time, it was too early to call. But now, after Raila has died, let's sit down and do the numbers and be very liberal and even give him to the maximum that you can give him. This guy called Simiyu was it Obina Ogasho, and he was asking, where is Ruto's numbers? Kibagendi went and debunked it also. Was it in Obina show? You remember? And you can put that clip, say he has lost the biggest, which is what? Electorate that right now will vote whether you like it or not. The people he has taxed to death. The students who are emerging to be the next voters from Form 4, who can't go to universities, and other ones that he has disappointed. So when you put all those numbers together of untraditional voting blocks that we never used to bring together and say, in terms of election, this is a voting block, women, this is a voting block, Western. Now we have voting blocks called people with payslip. We have voting blocks that are called students who can't afford university. We are voting blocks of people who have been what? Denied entry into secondary schools. Their parents, watoto wanaitwa wapi? Mtoto anaitwa day school Mandera na anakaa Kuria. So let us start looking for those untraditional voting blocks, and that's what Ruto is creating without his knowledge. Ruto akona kura wapi? That is how I'm viewing it. Before we ask, si tunatoa kura wapi? Ruto akona kura wapi? That's the question I'm asking.
And the few people who he has, they are actually, unajua, and by the way, Bwana Mbudi, this is a question which I also wanted to ask here as we bring Stone PK. We were actually talking this thing, hata kuna jamaa mwingine alikuwa ananiambia, nyinyi mnaogopa Ruto bure. By the way, huyu jamaa amejaribu kutafuta a good, decent person who is supporting Ruto. Forget about sasa the numbers, like all the people who are with Ruto. Ni watu ambao, you can't understand them. Somebody has an issue somewhere, what? They are like crazy people. They are like sick people. So maybe it's a fair question we need to ask ourselves. Because I think, Bwana Mbudi, the problem which we have, ile kitu inatusumbua ni the incumbency factor. You know, the incumbency factor is something which stresses everybody. And you know, even when opinion, even in America, some of the people who try to do opinion polls, you always hear them, they always, the incumbency is always given a factor, like it's a factor of influence, incumbency. So, to what degree does incumbency help Ruto, even though he doesn't have numbers? To what degree can that incumbency, can it actually turn his numbers?
Stone alikuwa ameenda narudi. So, look, we have one of the most unique presidencies the world has ever had. I don't know anywhere in the world, maybe educate me on that, on a democratic state where in 2 years, you know, I've said this over and over and over, but we have refused to discuss this. In 2 years, you've changed your deputy president, you've changed the minority to majority. You are in the position now of having 2 Chief Justice, Supreme Court Justice, okay? The head of military, you have your own. The head of Electoral Commission, you have your own. the head of police, you have your own, and you want to replace him and put another one before 2020. Like, Kenny, look at the system that Ruto has. No president. No, even Moi did not. Moi in the last minute is when he changed the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. Alikuwa anaitwa nani? And the other day is Nani who told us, the former Attorney General Wako was the one who told us how he wanted Jirongo wanted him to become the Chief Justice because Moi was afraid that now that he's leaving, the Chief Justice of Kenya should not be a white person. Not even Moi in 24 years was able to do what Ruto has been able to do in 24 months. So when you are talking about a system, my friend, if there is somebody who has overhauled, not even overhauled the whole system. You know, I've said this, it used to be only two tribes.
You have forgotten the military, he even killed the military guy.
I've said the military, when you kusikia vizuri, I've said the military. Now, even within the military, if we go now to talk about military deep, we are talking about even people in hospital. Military hospital are a change. You go to military hospitals, it's only Kalenjin. You wonder like, kwani majeshi wengine, Wakamba used to be everywhere in the military, not there anymore. Half of the cadets and the people in the Air Force used to be Luos, not there anymore. So you start wondering what is happening to the military. So if you start talking, we are not talking about the head of the military alone. We are talking about every position within the military. So in 2 years, what Ruto has done can give you a caricature of what he has done within the IEBC. And the question now stems, how can we go to an election with this IEBC? We start talking about 2027 confidently. Every day he is happy that we have the confidence of going to an election with that IEBC because we have resigned and said, and there was a person who lied here one day that, oh, you people are lying. Ruto used the constitution to put the current IEBC into office. I had somebody write here, I don't know, a few weeks ago, people are convinced that what Ruto did was constitutional. So in regard to the system, it has been rigged more than any other president has rigged. At least in 2022, Raila had Marjan and so on. In 2013, he had this chicken gate Oswago. Who do we have in this IEBC, my friend? Who do we have? The other day, Kanchori was speaking about how the election was stolen. He said, from the insider, we had people who are commissioned who are giving us inside information. Because in the end of the day, as a politician, you must play power game. In 2013 election, this girl that eventually resigned and ran away from Kenya gave us insider information what was happening and how the other guy was killed. In these IEBC, I want to ask you, who do we know? Who do we have? Who have we ever understood that can stand for Kenyans if heaven falls? How do you choose a person says, I never even applied for this job? Already he has disqualified himself that I was unchosen. How do you handpick? Somebody is on record saying, I did not apply for this job. And then you want him to oversee that election. Are we sick?
Now, I hope Kalonzo Musyoka knows. They are heavy questions. I agree. And I don't want to speak for the other presidential candidates because the other presidential candidates, they have already told us that Kenyan election is never stolen. So any person who tells you the election is never stolen, you cannot ask them that question. You only talk with the people who agree with how deep the water is. So Stony PK, unaweza ingia na hiyo wavelength ya Mbudi? Do you agree with some of Budi's observation when it comes to, even without announcing the presidential candidate now, Kalonzo Musyoka seems to be the one. It's only that we are buying time.
Jiru, I think we have one of the biggest challenge of our lifetime, and I'll come in with that wavelength, ya Bundi. I've always tried to avoid because kuna one time I was on X with a lot of people, and when I gave an account that was exactly echoing what Bundi is saying, Alex is saying, kuna watu waliamka wakasema that is a defeatist attitude. Hapana, huwezi kuongea hivyo bwana. You are telling us to lose hope bwana. Because I had concluded by saying I would rather we quit if what we are going to have is symbolic in the name of elections. Bundi amequote what I quoted. I quoted that. Somebody says, me kitu hata siku apply. Surely, as a board of directors of a company, you are interviewing CEOs. Then one of them anakuja in the panel anasema, by the way, I'm sorry guys, I didn't even apply for this position. Surely, honestly, because I believe board of whoever is a very senior elite kind of in any organization. Then you have one of your supposedly employee coming and presenting and saying, by the way, I didn't apply for this shit. And Kenyans, we are quiet. We are seated saying we are going to have elections 2027. Na umesikia kule, alafu imekuja haraka haraka. By the way, God helps you in very many ways. Haraka haraka imekuja Berenorth, sijui Malava nini election to, simple by elections. Then you have the same idiot saying that everything was super. Na tumenyamaza akina Kalonzo, because our spokespeople ni akina Kalonzo, akina Matiang'i, akina Nani. Those are the spokespersons for the masses as we stand now. But they're just telling us tuchukue kura, and I'm going to send you some clips I want us to play here, and I don't want us to ignore Uganda, because what you've seen in Uganda is what will happen in Kenya. And I know you've not followed what has happened in Uganda. I'll give you very surprising clips right now after I finish talking. Uzicheze hapa. Na hiyo ni copy paste. That is what Ruto is going to do 2027. Then you will tell me whether we should be now discussing and debating about announcing earlier, sijui empirical formulas, sijui. Utaniambia, you will answer after you watch those two clips. Utanielezea whether, Story PK, by the way, we should continue saying so and so should be announced earlier, sijui nini, United Opposition should sit down and this. You now will agree by the end of this platform, by the end of our discussion tonight, utaniambia kama we need to go for elections or we should tell Kenyans if certain things are not going to happen, then there's no point of saying, as per the constitution, we must hold elections every 5 years as per the constitution. You will tell me about that. What am I saying? I'm saying that in the state that we are in now, it is horrible. It is terrifying that there is one person that is hell-bent to remain in power until he dies. That is Ruto. You will tell me, in Kenya, this cannot happen. All these things that people have always said, in Kenya, this cannot happen, they have happened. I have a checklist of almost 100 things that people are saying, this cannot happen in Kenya. No. We are so advanced. No. We are so democratic. No. Sisi mazee, sisi ni wanoma. Sisi ni this, sisi ni that. But I have that list. One day I was counting. I have it somewhere. I think
There is one thing I can confirm to you, na hiyo naweza kuambia as you continue. Kitambo, I used to think abductions cannot be done. Kitambo, I used to think like people cannot be abducted in Kenya.
Kitambo gani? Kitambo gani? Kitambo gani?
Like
Because
10 years ago.
Sasa hiyo ni kitambo. People began to be abducted since those days of 1960 something 70s. Akina JM Karaoke. Wewe kuangalia history ungeuliza your dad.
One which happened in 2024, needed abduction on camera. Yani, I never knew like what Ruto government was doing after Gen Z movement, abducting people here and there. I only used to see those things in movies or in countries like
Zero, hold on. Zero. What difference is that? Somebody coming to your house when you're having dinner, saa 12 in front of your family, unakuja unatolewa hapo, unavuliwa nguo, unaingizwa kwa gari, unaenda. It's the same thing. Abductions have been happening. And that's why they get bolder. Mtu kukuja nyumbani amekutoa kwa bedroom yako, uko na wife maze, you're having your moment, unaingizwa kwa Land Rover nyuma na unaishia forever. And people keep quiet. I mean, we have moved, this journey has been long, Jiru. So that's why never ever tell people at in Kenya, this could not happen. Everything has happened in Kenya. And that's why I tell, even today, the other day people are saying Kenyan economy is bigger than Tanzania, is twice. Fine. Kenyan economy is bigger than Tanzania. Based on what? Umesikia starvation in Kenya, in Tanzania. Umesikia watu wakiomba chakula Uganda. When you say your economy is big and you are mnakufa njaa, I have studied economics, but your principle nimeshindwa kureconcile that our GDP is this much. It's like the way we talk of this bullshit called per capita income. I disputed that even in front of my lecturer. I told him I will never measure the richness or the capacity of citizens in this nonsense called per capita. It's garbage. It's nonsense. It does not give you, that's an average thing. What does average tell you? You have 10 people in the village, then average gives you kila mtu ana 500. Unaenda unakuta kuna mtu hata hana 100. It's nonsense. GDP is huge. You have people starving. You have children not going to school. You have hospitals without, you have unemployment. Nonsense. It's garbage. Kenya is rubbish. It's nonsense. Nothing in Kenya can work today. No system will work. And this is what I would want our opposition to take quickly. In fact, we should now talk of dismantling this country totally and not even holding elections. And that's why Ruto is getting very aggressive, because that's the path. And that's what the young generation are pushing. That let's dismantle this thing. If you go to X, utasikia at in the generation hawachukui kura. Why would I take bullshit kura when already you know what you're gonna do? That this kura will not even work. Sincerely. Then we start saying, these young people are this and that and this and that. Yeah. So people are supposed to get mad now. Tuache ku pretend that please, and then we are buying that narrative. Chukua kura, chukua ID. Shit, man, it's BS. It's BS. And before I proceed even further, I want to tell you that those number of candidates that we have, people are now trying to divert. They are not united. They are not this. Come on, give us a time. These people are united in the fact that they are saying Ruto must go. What other unity do you want? Unataka unity gani ingine hapa? Sasa tuna debate from morning to evening. Kalonzo, they are disagreeing on announcing and all. This is trivial. This is trivial. Can we announce about this guy who said he never applied for the job as chair of IBC and the commission? And we discuss about this guy who went on to renew contracts of rigging.
Why does media not focus on deficiencies within IBC? Like,
forget about it. No, Jiro, toka kwa media. Media is in business. They cannot antagonize the government because they are all rubbish. Ni watu wa pesa mbele kama wa Kikuyu. You know, this country is in trouble because Kikuyus love money than their lives. The same thing with the media. Royal media belongs to a Kikuyu who is looking at his money even at the advanced age. Hajawahi tosheka na do. You know, look at how he dismantled the Tallying Center and claiming to be a close buddy of opposition. That was nonsense. I have no respect for those kind of people. Yeah, the Mount Kenya, tunaambiwa kuna billionaires wa Mount Kenya. What do they protect? They don't care who becomes the president so long as after protecting mawizi zao and all of these kind of things. This is the bitter truth. Mwananchi, you are on your own. The best you can do is just to make a revolution here and put everybody else in the garbage. Yeah. You know where we are, hakuna maneno ya kumassage ati sijui, you know, now we have negotiations. Even what is going around in ODM is garbage. Yeah? Ati we want to be on that table to discuss where Baba left us. And people are being driven towards that nonsense. What are we talking about in Europe? This is rotten. And it requires a Traore to come over and say, can you turn over the table? Yeah, dismantle everything. Kabisa. Who is protecting what? It's the tycoons. It's the thieves that are scared that the new generation will dismantle. You will lose all what you have looted from this country for all this time. Na mnadanganywa. Why do people call for negotiation? It is to try and safeguard what you have hidden under your bed, what you have stolen. That's why you call for negotiation. When thieves are told to come out, you start trembling because you know you are one. Oh, who says, oh, we are a democracy, we have a constitution? If our constitution is not serving the common mwananchi, of what use is it? Seriously. Of what use is it? Oh, you know, the law is very clear. If this law is not clear when it comes to common man, it is clear when it comes to the tycoons and the thieves. And in Kenya, most of tycoons are thieves, by the way. And even they hear me talking like that, they know it's the truth and it's bitter. Most of billionaires in Kenya are thieves. They've stolen money. They have stolen. That anybody can say it. And in Africa at large, truly speaking, when people even try to, when you ask people, and you know we are very, very, very stupid. You ask somebody, what are you worth? Zero. Then you start saying you are worth 6 billion. Shamelessly. Shamelessly in zero. Unasimama kwa media ukisema I'm worth 2.4 billion. And you say that. In a country where you have 8 million kids not going to school. You have people starving. You have country areas of the country without borehole.
I have worked for it. You need to
Where?
I have worked for it.
From where? Where have you worked from? Zero ulikuja US. Zero. Wewe umekuja US for so long. Umekaa miaka ngapi? How much do you have in your account? Umewahi kuona hata tuache kwenda hizo zero.
Yeah, of course.
Tuache and you work very hard bwana. Tuseme ukweli. Then some zero sahi. Let me ask you. Take 5 people you left university in Nairobi with in Kenya. Alafu uniambia wale waliingia civil service na wewe compare yourself na wale waliingia civil servant. Uwezi hata kaa karibu nao.
Hata unasema I can tell you I have I was a schoolmate with Cheriot who was Senate majority na nina mjinga bwana.
Sasa wali mjinga. Hata uwezi in fact, if you say you are his classmate, he is embarrassed. That hawezi kuintroduce mahali as a class. Wewe umetoa hiyo example wewe kuja.
Wewe bwana don't you see the way I've seriously stagnated bwana? My colleagues are Senate majority na mimi tu niko hapa tu.
Na wewe hapa unafanya kazi kufa kupona nchi ya wengine.
Bro, there is a difference between classmate and deskmate. Wewe kama ulienda kuwa tu deskmate maisha ikaibamba, it's okay.
Hakuna haiwezi kumbamba mtu ameenda mpaka US huyo maisha haijambamba bro. How many people can survive working in America, Europe, or a foreign country? You are sustaining yourself. My friend, I don't believe anybody who is beyond the seas working. I take you for granted. You know, wewe you are earning akiangai wacha. In Kenya the shortcut you become sasa. Ukiulizwa Cheriot amewaka hadi kutoka nini, look at his CV. A guy has never even worked in a private acha nisiende hiyo. You never even where mlitoka shule akaenda wapi?
Huyo jamaa immediately we left school, he started to tour companies nini, tukasikia kuna mataxi. Then along the way ndio huyo Ruto amemwambia wewe ndio utakuwa senator wa Kericho, and from there ikiendanga sasa. Hata sasa hata kwa group za shule akatoka bana, mwezi mpata tena.
That is sahi anasikia huko na kiosk YouTube.
Nikidiscuss ujinga.
Anaona wewe ni fala kama Sudi. Umesikia Sudi jana amepiga watu, juzi amepiga watu makofi kama milioni moja.
Sudi used to be a makanga during my time.
Kwa hizo gari za kwenda Chororuet, hizo kwenda nani?
Hakuna shati black hapa mbaya sana. Hapa hivi.
My friend. I'm telling you, this country has to be. You remember the mechanic who said, if you touch Raila Amolo Odinga, we dismantle the country, and then we give each one his bill, and then we think about the assembling again. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. It is frustrating. It is frustrating.
Unaona huyo kidogo. Unaona huyo Sudi huyo hadi mnasema hako na hoteli kubwa sana somewhere in Eldoret. Shati ilikuanga black hapa mbaya hapa kwa saa zingine hata mnafunga bapua hivi bana, mkuu kwa gari. Nyinyi mko vijana wa university mweka vizuri.
Yeah, and he worked very hard kuwa anapima pesa na ratili. Mpaka anapima pesa na ratili. Wacha Njiru nikutumie hizi clip. I want you to play this clip.
Salimia kabla sijaenda.
Okay.
Saseni, hi Alex,
Hi, tuko.
PK, Njiru. Alex, pole, I wanted to tell Njiru nimemuonya mara Njiru. I know utaki kudisikia hivyo. Hizo story, huyu best wako niliwaonya. You be careful what you pray for. I hope Njiru you understand my message.
I have no problem because I have equivalent also met with ICE people as well.
See equivalent.
No, I've met with them. I meet with ICE people and I explain my status na wanaachana na mimi. I've met with ICE people. Si ati sijakutana na wao. So I sympathize with what is happening with Minnesota, but it doesn't mean that watu wa ICE, they are everywhere. Even where I am, nimekutana now. I have met with them in Walmart some time back. So
Minnesota peke yako. I'm just saying this, kuna Wakenya wengi na sijui kama uko kwa hiyo group. Na watu wengi wamekuja hapa.
No, me I have no problem. Me I have no problem if my visa is not good. If they want to deport me, they can deport me. I have no problem of being deported if my visa is not okay. I have no problem. They can deport me. Julia, mi sio mtu ati sasa tuanze. If my documentation is not right, I'm ready to be deported.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So I won't go that argument.
No, me I'm ready to go home. Anyway, if I overstay my visa and they tell me your visa is not okay, tunataka kurudisha nyumbani, I'm okay.
Sasa unaona vile umewaka, umesema ati if your visa is not okay. Sasa itafika mahali utagundua is not even your visa is not okay. That is what the message Alex was trying to say, that Kenya alipitia jana si kwa sababu hana makaratasi. Ni kwa sababu
I don't dispute that, but I'm not saying that all these people are blatantly committing crime. I will not agree to
hakuna
that.
Mtu amesema all. It is just that you can be a victim.
I understand there are those victim of identity. I agree to that, but it doesn't mean that, to some extent, these people are also trying to enforce law and order, Julia.
It is not even a victim of identity. Sijui kama mmeona clip.
If I need to be deported, I have no problem. I'm ready to be deported.
Njiru, what you are not understanding is this. And listen, Njiru, even us at first, we said this magnanimity of corruption is not right. We need to do something for a functional state because all of us pay taxes, our children and our future is important. So we welcomed the investigation. But what we are seeing right now is if you have an accent, if you are black, neighborhoods that traditionally you know very well Wakenya wanakaa hapa. If you go to Texas, like Arlington, utajua Wakisi wanakaa huko. So you don't come blatantly where you know that house to house. Do you know that yesterday Pastor Kanisa yetu had to announce that I need 6 volunteers because it looks like next week they are coming inside the church. You know, Njiru, do not support something just blatantly by saying, "Kuwa, no, hold on, let me finish." You know, you're being defensive for no reason. Let me finish. Let me finish, then you respond. Let me finish, then you respond.
No.
Let me finish, then you respond. You have all the time to respond. This is your show. It's not like us. You know, you have the right hata kunitoa. After nimesema chenye nimesema, then you respond even 6 hours. It's not like us, tunaweza tolewa anytime. So the thing is this.
Lakini we have also do you want to tell me that these people are just doing the wrong thing? Hakuna kitu wamefanya hata moja, right?
What they are doing currently is the wrong thing. It is very wrong. Did you see the other person that was doing? Did you see that Somali? No, Njiru, listen. Njiru, listen. Did you see that Somali guy who was asked, akaulizwa aje, because you speak with an accent? Then akauliza, have you heard Israeli accent? Have you heard European accent? He was told because he's speaking openly on camera, he was told that because you have an accent. So when you hear somebody profiling you and saying, you know what, I need to see your ID because you have an accent, my friend, then you are saying, you know, don't be so arrogant because you know that you have education and secondly, you have an alternative. We have people who are desperate, who do not have that. You are being arrogant.
I'm not arrogant.
By saying that wacha nipelekwe mahali napelekwa. There are people who cannot allow to go back because they have no livelihood. Trust me.
I have no problem, but
they will not speak the way you are speaking.
Crime, why should I not go home if I've committed crime?
These people have not committed any crime. It's because they do not have any sense of livelihood.
If you have not committed any crime, no one will deport you.
People did not come here. People did not come here because most of us and all of us did not come here because of crime. It's because of opportunities, my friend. You are looking at it from a very different angle.
I agree. So if the government deports you and you are everything of yours is right, you can sue those people and you can be paid.
You sue this government. You know, Njiru, sometimes. Njiru, let me tell you something. You know, sometimes when I see that you are actually not supporting Ruto, I wonder, you know, you are actually a supporter of Ruto in one way or the other.
I am sour.
The way you talk, you are a supporter of Ruto. Your ideologies are not different. It's just the environment that is different.
I've met with these ICE people and I've cooperated with them. So, Julia, wewe umekutana na ICE wapi? Just explain.
Wacha nikwambie Njiru, I was trying to drive a point to Karuka.
There is no any point you are driving here. There is no any point you are driving.
Nyamaza kwanza. Wewe nyamaza kwanza sasa niongee.
You don't like
ama
me say,
unitoe.
okay.
You're gonna make Njiru not sleep now.
Ama unitoe. So
nakutananga nao kila siku.
Hapana, kwenda huko. Sikiza. You are very arrogant because you think uko na makaratasi umesoma.
It is not about that. I've talked about crime.
Ati ukienda Kenya you can sue somebody. Sue who?
Yes, I can sue. I can sue if I've not done the wrong thing.
Do you have money to sue? Do you have money to sue? Do you know which country you are in, Jiruban? The people who win are the ones who have money. Would I put a public defendant that is overworked? Would I put a public defendant that has overworked?
It is not my fault.
And I put your quotas.
I met with ICE 3 times.
Anapatia quarters, anapatia
I have met
quarters.
with ICE 3 times. 3 mara tatu. I met with
Why
them
did
in the Canadian border.
mbona walikutarget?
But I
Ni
argued myself
mweusi.
out.
Sasa wacha
It doesn't matter hata kama niko mweusi, that one doesn't bother me. Ni
sasa
sawa.
wacha niongelee maneno ya ubaguzi.
No, there's idea whereby tunasema tu like why are we blaming everything? So mnataka kusema even if somebody has not done the right thing, akae tu.
But you see, the problem is your argument is valid, but it's not being put properly. I'll give you an example. Yeah.
Anyway, wacha kila mtu support kile anataka, but when it comes to that, me I have no problem. I will not live in fear. No, I will not live in fear. I will not live in fear. Atunajua you can be deported. I have no problem. Kenya is also a country. I don't know why all the time tunasema sijui you live in fear. These are the nimeambiwa hapa vizuri.
Bro, relax. Wewe umefukuza tu kwa show.
No, it's not about it is not about being, it's not about, but you cannot come and tell me, hizi vitu nani kipu unaniambia. Simply because you hate somebody, unakuja kuniambia njino na kuambianga all the time. Explain the point, but wacha kusema unaniambianga all the time.
But you see, the thing is,
hao watu wise nimekutana, wewe umekutana na watu wise mara ngapi? I met with them in the Canadian border. The time when they were deporting watu vibaya sana.
Unajua, the problem is several times your friends have tried to talk to you, lakini umekataa kuwasikia. Wote wametoka.
I cannot listen because I cannot listen because they are having bias.
You're biased. Also, you're biased because it's the same way UDA people are. Unajua kuna watu wa UDA utaambia kitu.
No, calling people to a UDA simply because I'm talking about law and order.
And then
I sympathize with what is happening, but you cannot come and start telling me ati kitu itakutendekea hivi.
Lakini unafukuza watu wako, mbona hujawapatia chance kupata argument?
No, debate. No, kipu umesikia vile wameanzia kuniambia. Umesikia vile wameanzia kuniambia. They have told me I'm arrogant. How am I arrogant when I'm talking about law and order? And they are telling me I'm arrogant.
But you need to give them a chance to.
No, they have told you ni arrogance gani niko nayo hapa? Which arrogance do I have? I just said if they argue the case, I need to be deported. Well,
yes, but the problem.
Yeah, if they argue, why do you want me?
Trying to talk.
Simply because ati wazungu wananitafuta watanideport.
Kindly listen.
Bana bwana keep hiyo hata mimi sitasikiliza. You cannot come to tell me I be living in fear simply because mnaniambia nitakuwa deported. Hebu niambie kwani ni watu weusi wangapi wamekuwa deported? Give me the name of people who have been deported. Niambie wale watu unajua wamekuwa deported.
You see the problem you're acting.
Even Obama was deporting people like crazy. Why are these things becoming? No more now.
Can I talk?
No, mimi hata mumenikasirisha bana. Story ya deportation hiyo msiniambie. Why should somebody come and tell me here I'm arrogant?
Usikue kama.
No, why would you come and tell me I'm arrogant here? I'm arrogant. So why am I saying mimi nikisema I don't care if I get deported or not? What is the problem with me? I don't care. They can deport me if they want.
You see,
but
you're already
me, I have no problem. I have no problem. If the American authority will determine that I deserve to be deported, what's wrong with that?
Sasa umefukuza wenzako?
No, it's not about kufukuza. Wameniambia I'm arrogant na ni wao wamejifukuza. I didn't click anything. I didn't click any ya kufukuza mtu. But it is very wrong kukuja kuniambia I'm arrogant. I just said I have no problem of being deported. And I can argue my case out.
But don't you let them argue their case?
Ai bana. Unajua wewe bwana kipu bana, you don't know this thing what is happening in America. You don't know what is happening in America. No, but you cannot tell me that I'm arrogant. I've been running this show with no arrogance. So somebody coming to tell me here I'm arrogant, I will not accept that. You have not seen an arrogant man.
Unafukuza wenzako?
No, but you cannot come and tell me I'm arrogant.
But they live in the same country as you.
It doesn't matter, but they could be having their own biases. Julia anakuja kuniambia tu huyo mzee wako. Huyo mzee wako ni nini? I don't care bwana Calvin Skireta. I don't need this show. Sihitaji.
Utalala leo bwana bro.
No, I don't need this show because you cannot come and start telling me I'm arrogant.
Breathe.
I don't need this show.
Breathe. Relax. Breathe. Relax.
No, bwana Kipi, amwezi kuwa mkifanya vitu hivi, mnakuja kuambia mtu ako arrogant hapa. Amwezi kuwa mkifanya hizi vitu. Have you ever seen an arrogant person? I just said, I have not seen people who are supposed to be legally in America wanawekwa kwa ndege na wanaenda.
Sawa, funga show.
Wakienda they are nini?
Funga show basi. Funga show. Funga show ni sawa.
No, but I felt very bad. You cannot tell them that way. Wamekuja hapo wakaniambia simply because ati niko na makaratasi na nimeenda shule. I think somebody is that. I'm just saying, argue your case out. If you have overstayed your visa in America, why do you want to be in America?
Kama utaki, funga show. Funga show, tutaona kesho bana bro. Tutaona kesho.
Hii maneno, no, you cannot, mtu hawezi kuja kuanzia kuniambia vitu kama hii. I have no problem. Because unajua, watu wanatuweka na uoga hapa, hatuwezi hata tembea, we cannot go Another day I was going for a conference. People are calling me wananiambia you'll be deported. Just fellow black people like me, you'll be deported, utadeportiwa wacha kwenda. Bwana. Me I don't buy that one bana. Me I don't buy that one. Whoever want to deport me anaweza ni deport. I have no problem. Yeah, so nitarudi Kenya, nihangaike kidogo as I look for my bearing na maisha iendelee. So why do people think like some of us ni kama ati tulichoma kwetu? It is a must, we have to be in America. In any case, that one was very bad. So Julia, that one was very bad. You don't do that. If you have your own biases, you know what I support. Kama na support hiyo mzee, niache tu hivyo tu, acha tu nikae hivyo na ujinga yangu. Yes, just tu niache. Kama mimi na support hiyo mzee, tu niache na ujinga wangu. If whatever is in my head cannot figure out I'm supporting an idiot, well and good. Yeah. Calvin, see at the story, Asira, you don't do that. You cannot come and tell somebody you are arrogant. That one I had to you know, you don't live in fear. And let me tell you, I'm a very straightforward person. I will say the truth. Yule ambaye anataka kunichukia anichukie. I have no problem about that. If you want to hate me, you have a chance to hate me. I have no problem about it. But let's not apply those biases. Unakuja unaniambia sijui mzee wako. I live my own life vile Mungu ameniwezesha, lakini history ya kukuja kuniambia sijui you can do what all the time sijui, na ni Waafrika tu wenzetu. Hapana. It is not about that. It's not about that. Hii Amerika, Waafrika wenzetu wanatufanya tunaishi na uoga. You cannot even go anywhere. Hata mtu tu akikuona wewe, unajua watu wanakuwa deported, you cannot even go to the shop to buy anything, and it's your fellow Africans who are instilling fear to you. Ai bwana, we will not do that. Nitatoka hapa, nitaenda kwa duka, nitatoka hapa, nitaenda pale ingine, nitatoka hapa, niende wapi, niende nitembelee rafiki. Whatever happens. So anyway, bye. Let's meet another time. Sawa.